Good morning. This is part four of our quantum meeting process. This is the part where we shift the things that we've uh, analyzed and recognized where we want to make change in our life, where we've run it through the quantum lens, where we recognize the things that are going to get in our way. And so this is the point where we move into execution mode. So most people don't struggle with intention. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They know why they're supposed to be doing it. They struggle with the actual execution of it. And when we went through part three, the quantum process, we kind of recognized the pieces that quietly undermine the progress we're trying to make. Um, in this part, we recognize that a goal isn't powerful because it sounds good. It's powerful because it tells you exactly what you need to do next. So today I'm going to walk you through a framework that takes your ideas out of your head and actually turns them into something you can follow through on. This is your SMARTS goals. So quick context, because I like you to know where things come from. Clearly, I didn't think this up. SMART goals were introduced in 1981 by George T. Doran to solve a really simple problem. Vague goals don't get executed. Your brain cannot act on something that's unclear. So this framework gives your brain something it can actually work with. It's clear, measurable, realistic, time-bound. These are all the language that your brain and your executive functioning understands. What we're doing here is a modern version of that structure, a little bit up to date, with one key addition specifically for the women that I work with: support and accountability, because I recognized in my own life and in their life that, especially when you have those underlying processes that quantum helped us recognize, you need a little bit of support and sometimes a bit of accountability. Because honest to goodness, discipline alone is not reliable enough. So SMARTS stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, and the last S that I've added is supported and accountable. So I don't know if anybody else has ever added the S on the end, but it made sense to me, so that's what I've done. We're going to walk through each one, and I want you thinking about a real goal as we go. Specifically, if you're tagging this on to the last step of your quantum week, you're going to want to identify the piece that you worked on according to the week we're on. Pick which micro goal you wanted to shift, and then you can work on it as we work through these slides. So not something abstract, something you actually want to follow through on. So specific, let's start with S. This is where most people go wrong right out of the gate. Vague goals create vague action. If your brain doesn't know exactly what you're doing, it stalls, creates resistance. So the question here is simple. What exactly are you doing? If someone watched you, what would they actually see? So instead of saying, I want to get healthier, we tighten it into something concrete. I will go for a 20-minute walk after dinner. Now your brain knows what to do. So take a moment and think about the goal and what would someone clearly see is happening in terms of your behavior. Break it down that specifically. So M stands for measurable. Obviously, you could pause if you're still working on your S specific, simply pause the video at that point and work through that, and then pop back on here and move into measurable. It's really, really important that you actually work through these. This is the implementation phase, right? So often we're in data gathering phase, but without actually putting um, all of these things into action, they just did in our head. So really going to encourage you to work through this as you go. So stands for measurable. How will you know it's actually happening? Because if you can't measure it, your brain can't track progress. And if it can't track progress, it loses motivation. This is one of the most important things. Your brain tracks how long it takes for something to happen. It knows how long it should take for something to happen. And if it's not happening in that time frame, a lot of times it can go, meh, can't be bothered. So it's important that you give yourself that tracking capability so that you're getting that little neurotransmitter soup of motivation flowing through your system. So this is where people say things like, I'll do it more. So more than what? Your brain needs a scoreboard. So instead of I'll walk more, we say, I will walk 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Now you can actually track it. You can make a chart. You can put a note on your fridge with little check boxes. Now you know if you did it or not. So now take a minute to journal. What would you know at the end of the week if you followed through? So you can pause the video here and work on this slide and then pop back on and we will move into achievable. So A is for achievable. This is this is the one where people quietly sabotage themselves. So is this realistic for your current capacity? Not your ideal life. You know, a lot of us wake up on January 1st and we're like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to throw out all of the stuff in my pantry. I'm never eating sugar again. I'm never going to have a glass of wine. And I'm never, I'm going to go to the gym 8 days a week. So that's not what we're doing here. We're wanting to look at the current reality of your actual life. You don't need an impressive goal. What you need is a repeatable one. So we've talked about this regularly, that micro shifts allow for your brain and your body and your physiology to catch up with what you're doing. So instead of I'll work out 6 days a week, we bring it back to something sustainable. I will walk 20 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week, because consistency beats intensity every single time. Consistency tracks and triggers, oh, this is who I am. I am a person that does this versus, you know, walking once a week and then tracking, oh, I don't walk on a regular basis, I walk once a lot. So ask yourself honestly, could I do this even on a low energy day? So pause the slide now, work through that, and then pop back on, and we'll move on to relevant. So R stands for relevant. Does this actually matter to you? Because if it's not connected to something meaningful, your nervous system will not prioritize it. You'll keep putting it off and not even know why. So we shift from obligation to intention, not I should exercise more, but I will walk daily to improve my energy and reduce stress so I feel more like myself. Now there's a reason behind it. This is your why. This is the reason you're doing this. This is why your system cares. And this is the thing that keeps you going when things get hard. So take a minute to journal about why your goal matters to you. Pause the video and then pop back on and we'll move on to T for time bound. So next up is time bound. When is this happening? Because a goal without a timeline is just a suggestion. It lives in the land of I'll get to it. And we all know with the amount of stuff that we're dealing with these days that our to-do list is way longer than we can get to done in a day. So we're constantly putting things off. And if you don't have an actual timeline set and have it in your calendar, it's not going to happen. So we anchor it. I will walk 20 minutes after dinner, Monday to Friday, for the next 4 weeks. Now it exists in time. Now it has structure. Now your brain knows when and how to act, right? So uh, what I would highly recommend you doing right now is taking a moment to pause this video, and take a minute to write down how this is going to show up in your life, and then actually open your calendar right now, whatever calendar platform you use, and schedule it in. And schedule it in with a reminder, because you know what? The first time is always the hardest. It's the one you forget. But if you've got that reminder popping up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock when you said you're going to do it, it pops up in front of you, and then you make the choice to set the intention to be that person who goes for a walk. Great. So take the time to do that now, pause the video, and then pop back on, and we'll move on to support. So S stands for support and accountability. And this is the piece most people are missing. Support. What's holding this in place when motivation drops? So instead of thinking, oh, I can handle this, I can do that, we actually assume up front that something's going to get in the way, that I'm either going to sabotage myself, or the behavior is going to feel uncomfortable, and all of those weird things from the quantum process are going to pop up, how I sabotage myself or get in my own way, or just literally life gets in the way and I just literally don't want to do it. So your motivation is going to drop. It's unreliable. It is inevitable. And in those moments, structure and your why are what carry you. So we ask, who knows I'm doing this? What system is reminding me? What happens if I don't follow through? And this can be simple. It can be texting a friend. It can be tracking it somewhere visible. It can be pairing it with something you already do. So Atomic Habits, the book, is really, really good, um, and can give you endless ideas about how you can actually implement these things in your life. And part of this is really important, looking at schedules of reinforcement and understanding yourself best. Are you the type of person who responds best to reward or punishment? Like, if you know that if you get a reward for doing it at the end of the week and that's going to motivate you, great, do that. If you know that punishing yourself, and taking something away or meting out a punishment is going to do it, then do that. I know for myself that never works. I'm not going to follow through on the punishment. So for myself, I know that accountability is key. I know if somebody is depending on me and expecting something from me, or for me to show up in a certain way, I am sure as heck going to do it. So this really matters, depends on who you are and what influences you. Um, so for example, in the goal that we're tracking here, I will walk 20 minutes after dinner, Monday to Friday for the next 4 weeks. And I'm going to text Sarah when I'm done each day, right? Not because I'm going to get in trouble, but because I know the act of texting Sarah is going to encourage me to actually get it done. So now the goal has teeth. So let's bring it all together. A fuzzy goal sounds like, I want to feel better. A SMART goal sounds like, I will walk 20 minutes after dinner, Monday to Friday, for the next 4 weeks and text Sarah when I'm done each day. That's actually executable. And then we add one more layer, which is your quantum layer. So what will try to get in the way of this? Because something will. It's going to be fatigue, resistance, old habits and patterns. So when you're expecting it, you're not blindsided by it. You prepare for it and you work with it. You don't manifest the life you want. You manifest the life your identity is organized to hold. This is the part that matters most. This isn't just about setting better goals. It's about becoming the person who follows through on them. Smart, consistent action that your nervous system can actually sustain, that walks that razor's edge between triggering you and pushing yourself just out of your comfort zone enough to actually achieve what it is that you want to do without freaking out. And that's how change happens. Start simple, pick one goal, run it through this framework, and execute. And then do it all over again. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you the next time.